Hi there.
Hi, welcome back to Curious Collection. I'm Will.
I'm Cinnamon.
It's been a week since we made a video, so I feel a little bit out of practice.
It is. It's kind of weird, yeah. But we've been very busy this week.
We have been very busy doing the whatnot shows, doing eBay listings,
going through our totes. As you can see, look, is that not amazing?
We do have to be honest. There's like 4 more over here that you can't see out of frame. But,
yes.
But we have gotten rid of 4 full totes of merchandise, sorting through, purging, and selling.
Yeah.
We've sold so much stuff.
Yeah. No, it's been lovely. We've been working really hard.
Yeah. Our whatnot shows are doing extremely well. We were able to move a lot of inventory this past week, and we're going to continue with that because it's working for us.
Right.
We've talked
Big
about
shout out to Emerson, who came and joined us on Friday. We had a lot of fun in that whatnot show, and Chad C has been coming and visiting us on our whatnot shows, and anybody else who's been supporting us in that way. It's been a lot of fun, and the more we do it, the more fun we have, I think.
Yeah. Honestly, I was terrified about the idea of doing the videos, doing the live auction sale, entertainment type sales. But it's also very similar to doing YouTube, which when we first started doing this, were very mechanical and very weird. And so we're moving beyond that. One of the things that we were talking about this morning is like what happened last week. We want to bring you guys up to speed. And yesterday we had gone to the local
flea market. Couple of them.
Right. The first one, we were kind of feeling like it was a bit of a bust. So we're like, you know what? I can't end on a bad note. I need to have a good day. When you're outsourcing, you get that like dopamine rush. You found that thing that you're going to be able to make money on, and you got that excitement, and it just wasn't there. So we went to the second location, about 5 miles down the road. And again, this is like 60 miles from our house. Like
right. It's a drive. It really, really is.
And we went through there. They did not have anything for us at all.
No.
Our one contact there didn't have anything. He's like, oh, call me next time and I'll make sure I bring something with me. But he has all of his inventory on a different site.
The quality.
To the point where I couldn't even get some salt and vinegar pork rinds that I love. They're like locally made because they were sold out.
Yeah. So that was a big disappointment too. Right.
So, that's kind of the theme of our show today is like we had a lot of disappointment last week. And I don't want it to be a negative video.
No.
The way we have to look at it is that those disappointments are going to encourage us
to change direction, to do something different. And I think that that's really important is because the thing is, disappointments are going to happen in life, right? And in business and in anything that you do, you're going to have some disappointments in life. So what do you do with that when you're like, you know what? eBay's just not going to cut it by itself anymore. And that's really, really disappointing. When I saw, like when I was working at the hospital still and Will was working from home, my perception of him doing this job was much different. And so my disappointment of not having that job when I left the healthcare and came and worked here, it was disappointing. So what does that mean? It means that you just have to change your direction and change your perception and work towards a different
right. And
goal.
There's certain things that like when you started working with me, again, like your only perception of my work
was from the outside.
Right. Was going to like thrift stores, flea markets, auction houses.
Right.
You had never created a listing. You had never done any shipping.
I didn't have to do the research. There was none of the actual work.
Right. So, but one of the things that you found very quickly is that the types of things that I'm interested in listing and selling, you're disinterested with. So you don't care about history. Not in a negative way, but just it's just not something that you're passionate about. But you do love jewelry. So
I do.
Again, that's an opportunity now. It's there's disappointment. There's opportunity on the other side of that.
Yeah.
working in the corporate environment, I was very disillusioned. Just this morning, we talked to somebody who had told us about their experience working in the corporate world, and they had worked for a big manufacturing company. They were making over 6 figures a year when they retired. They have nothing but positive things to say, and now they're in retirement and they collect a pension. Mm-hmm. That is not my reality and my experience working in the corporate environment.
No, I wanted it to be that way. I was told it was going to be that way, right? Just find yourself a good job and you're set. And I was very disappointed when I found myself a good management job. And, I was very disappointed because they're like, oh, well, just work your employees more. And
right. You did get a nice raise. And the same thing. I worked in management for years. And, the management pay raise equated to be maybe, 15% or something more than what you were making previously, only to find out that the expectation was instead of a standard 40-hour week, it was 60 plus hours a week. Mm-hmm. So you've increased your pay by 15%. You've increased your workload by 50%.
So that was very disappointing to our household. Again, what do you do with that disappointment? You make it constructive for your situation. We were very disappointed in the corporate world, so we changed our world.
Right. We changed our behavior, and we started coming up with goals to align us with the life that we wanted to live. Mm-hmm. We didn't want to be that debt slave worker that is
right,
literally
because you
never
have to continue to work corporate jobs if you want to have the new car in the driveway, and if you want to take those big extravagant vacations and you want to do that life. And if that's what you want, that's awesome. You do you, boo. But like what we want, we were disappointed in that lifestyle. So we changed, we pivoted, and we decided what we wanted our lives to look like, and we started working toward that. And when we have those disappointments, we try to look at it. We have the emotional meltdown. I have the emotional meltdown. And then we try to look at it from a more constructive place and go, okay, what are we going to realistically do to pivot, to change, so that we can continue to work toward our goals.
Right. So we had talked about the fact, and we've mentioned this a couple times, that, we're disappointed with eBay sales. Mm-hmm. It's forced us to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's forced us. And so we have basically 3 different revenue streams that we have now that we can layer, and we can scale them up or down depending on what our time is and what our needs are. So in the end, that makes us better. Mm-hmm. It's
okay to change. I think that's important that people understand that it is okay to change, because I feel like so often people are like, but this is what I said I was going to do. So I have to dig my heels in, and I can't look at other things because then I failed.
Right.
And I think it's really important to understand that adaptation is not failure. It's okay to change with new information that's coming to you.
Yeah, right? I heard somebody that had said basically the ability to analyze your environment and learn something new, change your perception, that's a sign of intelligence. And I thought that was really profound, is that, let's be smart. We're not going to continue to do the same things and be disappointed with the results and then think that something's magically going to happen.
Right. So I think that it is important, and I don't think it's a failure. I think that it is a success to be able to look at the situation and go, hey, you know what? Yeah, that was disappointing because it's not what I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. But that's okay, because we can adapt and change. Like I said, I had a lot of fun on Friday's Whatnot, looking through these old photos and looking at the lives of the people that are in them, and like imagining what it was like 100 years ago. Like, it's kind of crazy.
It is just absolutely insane things that come up, and we have fun with it. And
we do.
So, it's put us into a different position, and totally different than sitting in our office just listing all day. Mm-hmm. So, it forced us to do something that we find out that we actually like to do. So, another disappointment that we had, we said, eBay's just not cutting it. Mm-hmm. We're still struggling for sourcing.
Yeah.
But we have plenty of inventory.
Yes,
so
we do.
That's okay. It's just
it's just forcing us to go through and to rework the inventory we already have.
So it's funny because sales are down, profits are up.
Yes.
Because we're not putting all that money in inventory.
Yeah, we're being more picky about our sourcing, and that's okay because we're able to look at our numbers. We're able to go, you know what? Yeah, our sales are down a little bit, so we need to pivot. We need to spend some more time going through our inventory, and then whatever happens. We got approached last week by somebody, and they're like, "Oh, hey, I know that you collect this stuff, so are you interested in some of this stuff?" And we're like, "Yeah, bring it to us next week, and we'll be happy to
Sure.
So it's a possibility that we'll have a good buy next week.
Right. And that's another thing that we had talked about is that, the thrift stores, the local Goodwill store, we were in there. We haven't been in a Goodwill in a long time. And the entire store, other than clothing, was brand new merchandise.
Yeah.
There was nothing on the shelves that was secondhand. We don't sell clothing. So for us to go in and the only thing in the store is clothing, all the pots and pans were new.
Yeah.
Made in China, stamped.
Right. The holiday stuff and,
Yeah.
household stuff you hang on your walls,
Even like the picture frame aisle, everything was brand new.
Right.
Pet supplies, brand new. No, there's literally nothing that you could sell.
So if that was your sourcing, it is really disappointing that revenue for sourcing is no longer an option. At least for us, it hasn't been an option for a year.
Right.
Because they take the best stuff, they put it online themselves. So again, it kind of forces you to change.
Right. So
what you're doing.
And it has. It's forced us to talk to more dealers and more brokers and try to get those buys early on in the system rather than waiting until it's been dropped off at the Salvation Army or Goodwill and sorted and picked through. And, you're the last person in that chain rather than the first. So, that's one of the things. Yesterday, we had a notification come in after having all of this disappointment with sourcing that we had a $400 piece of ephemera that's being returned.
Yeah.
So really cool piece. It was a JFK from his presidential run and $400 piece of ephemera. And the person had purchased it. They got it. They left positive feedback. Which is great. I was excited for them. It's a really cool piece.
We got that positive feedback and I'm like, oh, okay, awesome.
Right.
We did it, done, great.
I think what happened is that I think they took it to an appraiser and they didn't get the appraisal value that they were hoping for.
Yeah.
Because there are auto pen signatures on old ephemera. There's, so basically it's a machine that would replicate a signature in pen. There's stamps. There's, just hand signed. There's lithographs. So there's a lot of different ways to get a signature onto a piece of paper. We had specifically listed the fact that it was auto pen.
But if you don't know what that means, then,
Right. So a auto pen signature, $200 to $500 value, opposed to the actual presidential signature, $2,000, $2,000 to $10,000.
Yeah.
From some of my research.
So they got a piece that was valued for what we had valued it for, thinking that it was a piece that was valued for 10 times what we asked.
Right.
So so it was very disappointing.
Right. And it doesn't mean that we're going to necessarily pivot away from that. It just means that that is where sometimes selling those $20 to $40 items is a little bit better, because
if you get a $20 return, it doesn't hurt quite so bad as a $400 return.
Yeah. And yesterday we did over $400 in sales.
We did.
So it was a good day, even with getting the notification of the return.
Yep.
And the entirety of the day was built off from $20 items.
Yeah. Yeah.
So $400, $20 items, we're still going to make those margins. We're still going to make our money. So it is more reason to just keep your mind open and be prepared and flexible for, the potential that you might get something back.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I think that it's important to know that, in your life, you're going to have these disappointments. You're going to have these big feelings and it sucks. And what are you going to do about it? Are you going to make a bad moment turn into a bad day, turn into a bad week, turn into a bad month, turn into a bad life?
Right. So the $400 item, this is the most expensive thing we've ever had returned.
Mm-hmm.
I had a contact, sells at the local flea market. He was selling, he sells antiques, really nice stuff. And he sold a lamp a few years ago and took it to the UPS store, had it packed, paid extra for the packaging, had it shipped out. The person got it. It was broken. $300 loss to them. I don't know why they weren't able to recover on insurance.
They may not have known because they're not big on eBay.
Right. But they had given up on eBay. They just said, no, I'm never going to sell on that platform again because I had this damage and I lost $300.
Right. To them, that disappointment was more than they were willing to accept. And so they're like, nope, done. Not going to sell on eBay anymore.
Right. For us, it's a $400 item. And so it's significantly more. It's 30% more than what he's losing. And I'm saying, okay, I just need to list more stuff today because I need to make an extra $400 this week to cover the cost of that return. And I'm still going to get that awesome piece back in the store.
Right. So we still have the opportunity to sell it again. I've had $300 rings come back, and yes, it's super disappointing. And then we turn around and we sell it again, and then they're happy with it, and it works.
Yeah, it happens again.
What are you going to do?
For us, we told you guys last year we did over $100,000 in sales. We're not going to throw that away on a $400 return.
Nope.
So.
Nope. It's definitely worth it. We love the opportunity to do what we do.
Yes.
You know, I so love the fact that I get to play with jewelry and I get to hang out with my husband all day and we get to do the whatnot shows and, we have the flexibility. The boy is, on spring break, so we get to hang out with him more. We get to make plans. Our daughter's coming down in a couple of weeks and, we can just go play at a park with them and I love what we do. And I love that the time and the energy and the effort that we put into our work, which is always going to be top notch because that's just who we are. It comes back to our household.
Right.
Every ounce of energy that we put into it is coming back to our household. It's not going to some nameless corporation.
Right.
I love what we do. So yes, we're going to have disappointment. Everywhere in life, there's going to be disappointment. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to take it and you're going to shape it into that next good? That's an opportunity that you have, or you can just give up on it and say, you know what, the disappointment's too big and I'm going to change directions and go somewhere else.
And sometimes that's the right thing to do.
Sometimes it is. That's what happened with me in healthcare. My disappointment in the system was more than I could handle. And it made me decide that, okay, it's time to pivot and go a different direction. And this was a phenomenal decision for us. So I'm so glad, but it was rooted in disappointment, so good things really can happen because you're disappointed in something. Right.
And I think that's that whole, the silver lining of a cloud, whatever, but yeah, it really is, and that's where we're at today is that, we had some disappointments last week and, for, an hour, I was a little bummed out yesterday because I felt like the, world was kind of crushing me. But, by the time I went to bed, I was fine. And here we are today. We're doing it again.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys are having a great week. Thank you for coming back, visiting with us. We've cut back on our schedule significantly on YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So we talked about already next week. So we won't be doing another video this week. Next week, Monday and Tuesday, we're going to pop up a video. We'll have our top 10 selling items for the month.
Yep.
So you'll get to see that JFK piece and know that we didn't make any money on it. We lost money because we were going to pay return shipping and everything. But and then on Tuesday we're going to do our numbers. So check back with us next week, and you guys have a great week.
All right, thanks. Good luck to you guys out there. Like, subscribe.